Welcome. I am sweating a lot here. It's at Hopsquad. I do not believe what we have just seen. So again, I have Chris Bills and Benjamin Verheyen with me. We predicted either a narrow 3-2 Austin win or a 2-2 draw. That did not happen. 4-1 win for Austin. All of a sudden, Supporter Shield maybe back in play. Certainly a statement win for Austin tonight. So yeah, we'll get some initial thoughts right now. Let's start with Chris. Chris, what do you think?
I mean, this is what it's all about. We're at Hopsquad about hour and a half, 2 hours after the game ended. Just did post game reaction and stuff with the players and Josh Wolf. And we'll get to that, but really it's just about the atmosphere, the fact that Austin was the center of the soccer universe tonight. All eyes, 83 countries, something like that. And Austin FC put on a show.
They really
at
did.
Q2 Stadium. They showed exactly the type of soccer they want to play. The atmosphere was great, and it's the kind of night that we could only dream of only a few years ago. And I'm proud to be here covering MLS. I'm proud to be here in Austin, and it's just a all around fun night to be covering the game. And I know Ben might feel a little differently coming all the way out here.
Yeah.
But we'll have playoffs and we'll have more to come in the season. But as far as tonight goes, I mean, it was incredible. From start to finish.
Yeah, so Ben, let's get kind of your initial thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the atmosphere goes, it was amazing. It was what I expected. The fans were into the game the whole 90 minutes. I love that. As far as the result, not what we expected from LAFC, but we keep going. It's hot in Texas, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it really is.
For my first time in Texas, though, the experience overall was great for me. I really enjoyed the atmosphere in the stadium.
Yeah, so I mean, Ben, you've talked obviously about just the quality of the team all year. You've talked about, almost this kind of like invincibility with LAFC, and all of a sudden, they've lost 2 in a row at a pretty crucial stretch of the season. I mean, this happens. This is MLS. It's really competitive. But just where do you think the fan base is right now? And I mean, just kind of some maybe initial takeaways from what Toronto said about what happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto just basically said it came down to defensive blunders. It was just individual mistakes from the defense, something you don't really see very often from LAFC.
Right.
I think the fans are definitely disappointed. It's hard to be it's hard to take anything positive out of this game. The only thing I could say is that it's better for these games to happen now than in the playoffs.
For sure.
That way you have time to work on things and improve.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, should LAFC and Austin meet in the playoffs again, there's definitely going to be things to remember about this match. I feel like there's going to be maybe a little bit of a revenge factor coming in should that happen, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys already swept the series this year.
Yeah,
you guys
that is strange.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, maybe in the playoffs we'll meet each other again. We'll see.
Okay. And then, yeah, Chris, so just kind of some takeaways initially from what Josh Wolf with players said tonight, and I can fill in a little bit, but just want to get kind of your initial impressions about the statement win.
Yeah, I mean, it's credit totally to Josh Wolf and, his coaching staff and the players for pulling off what they were trying to do. But I was just thinking back and all the times throughout the season, especially in home games, we've been waiting to see a performance like this. Since the first 2 weeks when Austin FC came out and just throttled Miami and Cincinnati and, showed exactly what they showed tonight. And there's been all these games where they've given up goals early. They've had to come back. We question, certain things about the game plan, certain things about lineups, certain things here and there. And there was none of that tonight. It was a buttoned-up professional performance and the word that Josh Wolf loves to use, collective. It was the collective. It wasn't just Sebastian Drewsy picking up everybody by the scruff of their neck. It was, everybody was in the right spots. And, Diego Fagundes scores, the free kick to sort of light it all on fire. But it was, from moment one, I thought it was Austin FC's best performance of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a thing. I mean, yeah, we talk about that collective. Driussi, I mean, yeah, he had his goal tonight, but it didn't come until, it kind of didn't matter, right? I mean, it was the 4th goal of the game. Obviously, Fagundes gets the free kick, 1-0 at half after the little kerfuffle that happened towards the end of the first half, which was wild. But then, yeah, Maxi Urruti gets the brace. Clearly the player of the game, I think. Obviously, he was kind of at the center of that kerfuffle at the end of the first half.
What's funny, though?
Yeah.
Diego Fagundes walked out of there with the game ball.
Yeah.
So Maxi was player of the game, man of the match. he got to bang the drum or whatever. But
Right.
Diego Fagundez with the game ball. I guess we'll find out in the social media video or whatever this
Yeah.
week. But
or the midweek press conference, we can ask about it a little bit more.
Diego was great though, and so was Josh.
Yeah. Josh was a little feisty tonight. He did kind of give a little dig at the press. He talked about all the negativity that we wrote about last year.
As he should. He gets that. He gets that right. Like, if we get to sit there and criticize him, week in, week out, then if he wants to throw a barb here or there, hey, that's fair game. It was fun. I thought it was fun, and honestly, like, he deserves it tonight. He said on the pregame show on ESPN, he said that he knew that there were ways that Austin FC could punish LAFC, and I asked him about that post game, and it's just a belief that he and the coaching staff have, that what they see on film, even against a team like LAFC, there's no fear there. They know that they can come in and punish teams, and they certainly did that tonight.
Yeah, and I was talking to Brad Stuver a little bit post match, and in addition to finding out that he's still got a lingering injury from what happened in Houston when he went out of that game after the Sebastian Ferreira 5th-minute goal, and he had the unfortunate encounter with the back of the goal there. He talked about just them wanting to come back to this combative nature of the team, because basically in Minnesota they felt that they didn't have that. They felt that they got outplayed, they got a little outmuscled, they didn't have the pace. Ethan Finley certainly talked about that last week in the post-match press conference that we had. So they really wanted to get back to it, and there's belief here. I mean, again, Supporters Shield. Again, it looks like it's still LAFC's to lose, but certainly the Union are in there. But Austin's kind of back in the conversation right now, and even if they don't get that, obviously, I think definitely a statement win. I think the ability to score goals in batches like they can really speaks volumes to what they can do in the playoffs. So, so Ben, just kind of more takeaways from what Trundolo was saying, what the players were saying.
Yeah, he was just saying that they got outrun, they got outpressed. Like I mentioned, the defensive blunders in the second half, something you're not used to. It's just something that doesn't happen very often for LAFC. They're gonna look at the tape and review, but they have Houston on Wednesday, so they can't really dwell on it too much. They have to turn the page and keep going. They have, I think, 3 of the next 4 games are on the road. Chiellini mentioned that in the press conference, how hard it is to win on the road in MLS.
Yeah,
and I think today was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really interesting statement from Chiellini, because, I mean, first of all, he's kind of new to the league and he doesn't kind of quite know it. But, I mean, certainly, the road trips in MLS are much more of a challenge. They're, obviously much, much longer, much more grueling than what you experience in Europe. But also the thing is, kind of the irony of that statement is that LAFC and Austin are the 2 teams in the Western Conference that are above 500 on the road. I mean, even with LAFC's performance tonight, I mean, they're still one of the best road teams in MLS, period.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's just a performance that you look back on. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. It's just something that you like that it happens now instead of in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, do you just chalk this up to this is a long season, they're doing a lot, they're juggling a lot? Or, I mean, it's, obviously the Quake Spring weirdness, and that happened in the last game. And then this could just happen. I mean, again, like with Miami and Cincinnati, we saw that with Austin in those first 2 games. They were 5-1 blowouts. And, actually at the start of the season, we were just, again, the whole Andrew Wiebe, bonus games type thing. But, Miami and Cincinnati they were still kind of figuring it out at that point in the season. But they've turned out to not be, kind of quite the cellar dwellers that we thought they were going to be. But for this kind of performance against a team of LAFC caliber, obviously, Austin's got a lot to kind of take away from that. But what does LAFC learn?
I mean, they learn that you can't take anybody for granted. Just because you have these offensive powerhouse, all these all-star players, you can't win the games on paper. You have to go on the field yourself.
Right.
I think that Cherundolo, I think he put out a good lineup. I think the game plan was good. I just think that the players just didn't perform. The passing was a little sloppy. I didn't think the passing was on point today, and they didn't even get a shot on goal in the first half. Mm-hmm. So I think just those second 10 minutes, second half, right. Those first 10 minutes of the second half are key to the game.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I thought that was interesting that you had towards the end of the first minute. Towards the end of the first minute, towards the end of the first half, rather, you had the fight, and that certainly, I think, kind of changed the complexion of the game. Not so much in terms of how it's being played on the field, but just in terms of the mentality, just the kind of combativeness that Austin wanted to get. I think that really kind of showed in that moment. And then they were able to, like, after halftime, though, weirdly keep their composure and get their revenge with the Maxi Arruti brace rather than with any kind of fisticuffs on the field.
Yeah, funny thing about the Maxi Arruti brace, of course, there was the moment, which was my favorite moment of the match, I think, aside from maybe the kerfuffle in the first half, which was when Maxi Arruti scores the header, and then he looks and locks eyes with Josh Wolf. and those two just, like, I want to see that mixed to, like, some, like, Titanic music or something, because it was just like two men just, like, doing a beeline for each other and just an embrace. And the whole team then gathered around, and we got kind of the story behind that, which is that Maxi Arruti's not the best with his head. That's maybe his one of his weaknesses as a center forward. And for him to score not just a header, but like a glancing near post header that came back the other way and beat Maxime Crepeau, it was like this training ground thing that we haven't had access to, of, like, they keep telling Maxi Arruti, hey, you need to be better with your head. Hey, you need to be better with your head. He scores a header, and he goes directly to Josh Wolf and just says, how about that, buddy? And it was just so cool. And then you got to give a shout out also. I think the other thing from Austin FC is the fullbacks. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
Imagine when the lineup came out, knowing that Nick Lima was going to completely put Gareth Bale in his pocket.
I know.
For 90 minutes or however long Gareth Bale was on the pitch. That was impressive. Is it too late to consider Nick Lima for right back for the U.S. men's national team?
Never too late.
It's only one.
There's a September camp, right?
Yeah. There you go. So, or maybe one-time switch to Iran.
Yeah.
Can we get? Can we get him in somehow?
Absolutely. We have Pollo with us.
We do.
Actually. So I want to get Pollo's thoughts on the game. So first of all, that Diego Fundas free kick, which obviously opened up the scoring. What was your reaction to that? I mean, you probably weren't expecting that. What did you think? Wow, that's incredible. That's really good insight, Pollo. So then obviously, I mean, again, like Maxi Arruti, we were just talking about him a little bit earlier. And obviously, we talk about his offense, we talk about the brace, but Josh Wolf talked about his defensive work rate, and just kind of wondering what you thought about that, like kind of what you saw from that throughout the night. So, and finally, I mean, obviously, LAFC is kind of a worthy foe. There's this kind of thought that maybe this is a playoff preview. Do you think that this might be a Western Conference final?
I think that's a resounding yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think Pollo is projecting that someday we are going to see LAFC and Austin in the Western Conference Finals in the not too distant future here. So, thank you, Pollo. Really appreciate your contributions to the show. All right, so yeah, so just kind of, I mean, like, where do we go from here? So, Ben, just kind of like walk us through like what LAFC's got ahead of them. Of course, they've got now a 2-game losing streak. Still got a hold on the Supporters Shield. But what's kind of on the horizon for them?
Well, they just signed Christian Teo today, and they have
Yes,
Dennis Bouanga coming soon. So, yeah, I think it's still exciting, to get these. There's only 7 games left in the season, so I think maybe if they get 4 or 5 games in there before playoffs, I think they'll be ready for when the postseason comes around.
Okay. And then who's next on the calendar for them?
Houston.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, again, Houston's obviously, they've had their struggles right now.
Yeah.
Kind of towards the bottom of the West. I mean, every game is kind of a must-game win for them. So, any kind of expectations in terms of that?
I mean, yeah, Houston. They struggled. It's another road game for LAFC. They struggled with that recently. With two losses. Yeah, so I'm expecting Chirondolo to just bounce back and get back on the winning streak.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, if there's going to be a team to like get back on the winning streak with, winning ways. I mean, obviously the Dynamo can be that team because the Dynamo is just, they've struggled throughout the season. But again, if the Dynamo is really going to have pride, and if they're really going to try to salvage their season, they're going to be coming with everything. So I would expect kind of the same sort of intensity maybe that Austin brought tonight. So yeah, on the other side of that, I mean, obviously you've got Portland and Nashville. Some green on green violence right now. I think Portland is still winning 2-1 at this point, so that kind of puts them back into the thick of the playoff picture. And then of course Nashville, they're a potential playoff team right now. I mean, they're in the playoff places, and there's a fellow MVP competitor with Driussi in Hani Mukhtar.
Yeah, Portland's in the middle of trying to close out Seattle 2-1, and Sebastian Driussi did get sort of his MVP moment tonight, getting to put the dagger in LAFC, and I think that was a special moment. But 19th goal of the season. He's nearing on 20, and I think he's gonna reach 20 and 10, which would be just a momentous season for him, and sort of what I think I had laid out, at the beginning of the season as sort of my expectations to the level that I thought he could reach, and it's just been amazing to watch that. But also the other thing that I was thinking about tonight, and I think this is going to come into factor in the playoffs as well, when we get if these two teams meet again, and it looks like at this point it would have to be a Western Conference final, most likely at Bank of California Stadium, and it's still maybe. But I think that and I asked Nick Lima about this, is that still when I look down on the pitch, I think it's a great performance at home from Austin FC. It's a great moment for all these players that have been overlooked. Diego Fagundes, Nick Lima, John Gallagher, all these MLS veterans, Maxi Urruti, to come out and show what they can do. But, you look across the field at LAFC, when they really want to bring it, we haven't seen that yet. LAFC, I don't think it took Austin FC seriously tonight. And I think Austin FC took that personally, and they went and took it to them and took them to the woodshed. But I want to see these two teams go head-to-head when they both want to bring it. And that's what I'm excited to see, hopefully later on in the playoffs, if we can get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bale is still kind of maybe trying to figure out the league a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, Vela, I think it was maybe just kind of an off night for him. But I mean, once again, if there's any kind of hope for LAFC fans in this match tonight, it's just that, again, game after game after game, Christian Arango finds a way to score.
Yeah, seriously.
Got a first, very nearly got a second. Ruben Gabrielson probably had the tackle of the game, saving that second goal. So, just again, obviously Teo's coming in, Boanga's coming in, a lot of offensive options, but somehow Arango seems to be at the hub of what LAFC is doing.
Yeah, he's been the go-to guy for LAFC all season. He has 13 goals now for the team, leading scorer for the club. So yeah, like you said, he always finds a way to score. He always makes the good runs. He always presses in defensively. So yeah, he's been a great player for LAFC.
Yeah, and again, I think obviously, however it shapes up, again, I still think LAFC is going to get the 1 seed. I still think they're going to get the supporter shield. I think the playoffs run through the bank, but again, yeah, it's a challenge. Again, tonight you kind of have a blueprint in terms of how to beat LAFC.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be difficult to play these kind of teams that kind of figure you out already. It looks like Austin already figured out LAFC. They beat them at the bank in May, and they beat them today. So, like you said, it's the blueprint of how to beat them. You just got to, take advantage of their mistakes, and that's how you beat LAFC.
Yeah, if there is any kind of silver lining or whatever, the idea of trying to beat a team like LAFC 3 times in a season, really, really challenging. So if it comes down to that, yeah,
for sure, yeah, it's kind of one of those things, trying to beat a team 3 times in a season. But at the same time, your confidence goes through the roof because you've already seen. We saw it tonight from Austin FC. They knew they could beat LAFC.
Right.
They saw all the things on tape, and then they had belief because they just did it a few months ago.
Right.
But before we go, I want to make sure we shout out a couple people. Shout out to Greg from Hopsquad and Hopsquad for letting us be here, drink a little beer, and be here and do these shows in front of the fans. Just a great atmosphere. It adds to the flavor at Q2. If you ever get to Austin, Ben got to see it tonight in full flow. So shout out to them. Shout out to Maya, our producer, and then shout out to the Moon Tower guys for coming over here and getting Mayor Adler on.
Yeah.
That was amazing. If you didn't see that and you're watching this one, I'm not sure why. But go check that out. And
yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah, and just all around great night for soccer in Austin. Thanks Ben for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you Phil for being the glue that holds us all together.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and again, yeah, like with Ben coming over, I mean, he's part of the LA contingent that's come on, and it's really adding to our coverage. I mean, again, we talked about expanding. LA was really, really important because, obviously the storylines running through LA, both with LAFC and the Galaxy, very integral to the league, and Ben's just been bringing it on the LAFC front all year. So very, very looking forward to the end of the season and decision day, October 9th, and then looks more and more and more like a home playoff match at Q2, which is going to be outstanding. All right.
And at the bank.
And at the bank. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, take care, y'all. Thanks so much. And again, support the striker. If you are not a subscriber yet, there's a 30-day free trial. Check us out. I think you'll like what you see. I think you'll like what you read. And we're here. We're going to bring it for the rest of the regular season and the playoffs. And then we're sliding straight into the World Cup. So it's going to be really exciting.